Welcome, JVLA teachers. In this tutorial, I will walk you through the process of how you can create groups in your online learning course. You'll want to start by going to the jvla.org homepage. Once you're there, go to the navigation box and select the course for which you want to create groups. For our purposes, we're going to use the JVLA Teachers PLC Learning Community. From here, once you've arrived on your main course site page, find the administration block on the left-hand side. Then, find the tab labeled Users and select the drop-down arrow. Here you'll see a list of options. You'll want to select Groups from the menu. Once you've selected Groups, you'll be directed to this page. As you can see, there are no groups created yet. There are two simple ways that you can create groups. You can manually create groups or auto-create groups. You do have the option to import groups using a text file or an Excel spreadsheet, but this gets a little more complicated. Instead, I suggest either manually creating groups or auto-creating groups. Let's start by auto-creating groups. Once you select auto-create groups, you will be directed to this page. We're going to go ahead and select Show More so that we can see all of our options for creating these groups. You'll begin by selecting which members from your community you want to create groups for. All of them, just the teachers, just the non-editing teachers, or just the students. For our purposes, we're going to select just the students. You'll then want to specify how you're going to create the groups. Do you want to specify a number of groups so that you know in your class you don't want more than 5 total groups? Or do you want to specify how many members are in each group so you don't want more than 4 members in each group? That choice is up to you. For our purposes, I'm going to select members per group. I know that I want to keep my groups small, so the group member count should not be more than 5. This selection here, Prevent Last Small Group, if you select it, will allow you to, instead of having that one last group that has maybe only 2 or 3 people, it will distribute all the group members a little bit more evenly. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Then for my allocate members, I can decide how I want them to be grouped. Either randomly, so it will just populate a random group list, alphabetically by first name, alphabetically by last name, alphabetically by ID number. That can be a choice up to you. I'm just going to go ahead and select randomly. For the naming scheme, because you are auto-creating groups, you won't be able to assign very specific individual names to each group. Instead, what you can do is if you select group and the @ symbol, it will name your groups by letters. So group A, group B, or group C. If you change the @ symbol to the number sign or the pound sign, it will name your groups using numbers. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3. This information can be found here, selecting the question mark. The naming scheme is entirely up to you. In this case, we don't want to create groupings because this would then put different groups into bigger groups. So grouping is like subgrouping. In this case, we're not going to do that, so we'll leave it alone. I can preview, and it shows my groups in preview. So each group has 5, in this case to 6 participants, because I have sort of an odd number here. And so I have 5 groups, 5 to 6 participants in each group. That looks good to me. I'm going to go ahead and submit. And then as you can see, it lists all of my groups and then the students on each side that are in that group. If I want to later on realize that I want to switch students out, I can simply select the student and add or remove users. Once I have my groups, if I want to edit the group settings, I can select Edit Group Settings, Delete Selected Group, Create Group, etc. All of the same options that I had before. Now, if I want to manually create a group, I can simply select Create Group. Then I will have to, in this case, I can give my group a very specific name. For example, the Titans, if I wanted to go that route, I can give them a description. and attach any pictures if I want the group to have a specific icon. In this case, I don't, so I'm going to select Save Changes. And now I have the Titans. Once I've selected the group, I can add or remove users, and all of my students' names show up here, including the teacher names, people who have multiple roles or no roles, etc. So all of the users in this course are here, and I can simply select, and I can press Control or Command for all of the names that I want to add. And once I've highlighted the names that I want in this group, I simply select Add, give it a moment, and there are my 5 students in my Titans group. And then I can simply select Back to Groups, and I have now my auto groups that the system created for me, and then my specific group that I created myself. Again, at any time, I can edit group settings, I can delete the selected group, create a manual group with a specific name, or create auto groups. This is the very simple and straightforward ways that you can create groups to facilitate peer-to-peer interaction, increase engagement, and differentiate assignments and assessments for students in your course. Please reach out to me, Jasmine Mendez, at jmendez@jvla.org if you have any questions or need help setting up your groups. Thanks.